So, I have been playing a lot of Path to Nowhere recently. I have been playing this almost nonstop for the last couple days, and admittedly, this is a game that very few people thought would actually take off. This is a game that people did not anticipate would garner much of a following. And despite this, I received mail earlier today that went on to state bonus 1 million downloads reached for global server. 1 million downloads. That is exponentially more than anyone had anticipated this game receiving. Before we jump into this video though, I do want to thank all of our incredible patrons over on Patreon. You guys do not need to support Mrs. Stix and I, but you still choose to, and trust me, it is appreciated beyond anything I can convey verbally. You guys are incredible, and admittedly, if you have a moment, follow Mrs. Stix and I over on Twitter. We'd really appreciate that. Now, the mail does go on to state, please check the attachments for bonus gifts to celebrate 1 million downloads for the global server. Get a bunch of stamina, currency. There are conditions to collecting it. This is limited, so you need to make sure to log in and receive this while you can. And admittedly, I am recording footage of this so I could do a dedicated video on my experiences in the game to kind of condense my thoughts on it into a 10, maybe 15-minute video. But I will go on to state this game is compared very frequently to Arknights. And I will note, I have had more difficulty in this game doing just the very first chapter than I had in the entire first 4 chapters of Arknights. Not only has this been unquestionably more difficult, but it has also been incredibly rewarding. Now, this game has done so much better than anyone had given it credit for, than anyone had ever expected it to do. But not only did it already break 1 million downloads in the few days that it has been currently available globally, but it also hit the #1 game, the #1 RPG in North America, and a surplus of different countries all around the world. Now, it was not the #1 game in general of every gaming category, but it was the #1 role-playing game, tactical RPG strategy game. This game has come out of absolutely nowhere and broken records that nobody expected this game to break. Yet, despite its success, we have people that are immediately at the top of the Reddit thread trying to discourage players from playing it by going on to state that the gameplay is a huge letdown compared to Arknights. This game is a completely different type of game to Arknights. Arknights is fast. Arknights requires forethought, pre-planning. This game allows you to tackle things in a much slower fashion, at a much slower rate. Once you place down a unit in Arknights, that unit is stuck there, because if you remove it, it enters a global cooldown that goes on to last, like 40, 50, 60 seconds. In this game, you have the capability to physically move your unit around anywhere on the field. So there's no forethought that needs to go into where your placement of each individual unit is. This game is entirely different. Yet there are people that are going on to immediately compare it and then say that it is inferior to a game that is much more beloved. This should not be done. This is just like what people did with Tower of Fantasy and Genshin Impact. It's like what they did or are doing with Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact. They are attempting to kill the game before it has the potential to garner fans, players. And this is entirely unnecessary, especially when they are such contrastingly different games. Interestingly, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the thread to find comments like, well deserved, the game is great, it's got good voice acting, an interesting story, mature vibe, fun gameplay. Well deserved, I'm loving it so far. I like everything about it. So all the way at the bottom of the thread, you find players that are talking positively about it. And that is because these people on Reddit, these people on social media, they love drama. So these overly dramatic comments, thoughts, reviews that are left on these games are highlighted. They are raised all the way to the top because people want to see them tear into and talk smack about these games, especially when a game can be direct competition for a game that they already like. And comments that are of a contrary opinion, like these ones that are actually talking positively about it and leaving positive reviews on the game, are immediately downvoted, squished, silenced, because nobody cares. Nobody cares if you have good things to say about a game. They only care about the vocal minority that are negative and that are screaming. Now, this game has reached 1 million downloads. This game has a surplus of events that are going on right now because the game just launched. There is a lot of stamina that is being given out at this juncture. This game is a stamina burn. And let me tell you, you're going to want to take advantage of the stamina that they're giving you right now, because when you attempt to play this, weeks or months from now, and these events are no longer going on, it is going to take exponentially longer to complete, and it is going to take significantly more effort for you to do. Now, with that in mind, if you are not a fan of Path to Nowhere, this does not look like a game that you're interested in, that is absolutely no problem. I am personally having a lot of fun in this game, more fun than I actually thought I would. I'm a huge fan of Arknights, but they are such contrastingly different games from one another. And admittedly, I did think this was going to be much more similar than it ultimately ended up doing, but I will have a dedicated video up sometime this week, maybe next week, of all of the differences, all of the things that I think it does better and that it does worse, my overall thoughts and opinions that I urge you to check out if you're on the fence about playing the game. But until then, there are 2 videos that are on screen right now that I urge you to go ahead and check. One is featuring every confirmed gacha game that is coming out this month. If you do not have time to watch any other video today, watch this one because this is incredibly important. The other is a gacha game that I think will do incredible things when it releases next year.